There's nothing that makes somebody feel better about hearing that they need a $3,000 transmission than a warm breadstick. Hello, good morning, BBs.
Hello, good morning.
It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And BBs, let me tell you something. It is even earlier than early. Can you believe it?
It's 4 minutes.
Can you believe it? 4 minutes early. Listen. That's as on time as we've ever been for anything. And let me tell you something. We're feeling it.
You're not late, you're early.
That's right. That's what my old boss used to tell me. He said, listen up, if you're not late, you're early.
Yep.
And when you're here, you're family. And stop eating the breadsticks. Those are for the customers. You cannot drink Alfredo sauce. It's bad for you. These are things that my boss used to tell me.
He did work at an auto body shop, though. So
that was weird.
That was weird.
But I'll tell you what, there's nothing that makes somebody feel better about hearing that they need a $3,000 transmission than a warm breadstick.
Honestly, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you had heard that, if you would be like, listen, it's going to be $3,000.
Like, oh,
We made you a breadstick, though. It's fresh out of the oven. You want a breadstick?
can I already smell the breadsticks?
Yeah. And you thought maybe the breadsticks were just for the employees?
Yeah, I thought maybe it was just somebody on their lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's going to help.
It's going to help, right? That's going to help.
I don't know where I'm suddenly going to get $3,000, but it is going to help a little.
Oh, listen. No, this is going to put you into debt for the foreseeable future.
Right.
Like, that's it for you.
Okay.
But
breadsticks.
Breadsticks.
Well, everyone, hello and good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Of course, this episode is once again sponsored by HelloFresh. We did part one of our HelloFresh sponsorship on Monday. That's the day.
That's right.
I think of what day of the week it was.
We like to think of that as phase one.
Uh-huh.
We've now entered phase two. This is where things really start building.
So phase two, where things really start building, is we've received food. Very exciting. We got some delicious meals from HelloFresh that came in the mail that we get to cook now.
Listen, you don't get to cook a lot of your mail. And that's, I think, what is so wonderful about HelloFresh. It's just one of the things. A lot of people send me mail.
Yeah.
And I could cook it.
You just shouldn't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not going to be delicious.
All right.
But HelloFresh, that's delicious mail.
Yeah, it is delicious mail. Maybe it was last Friday.
You should tell them, email them and let them know that I came up with a new slogan for them and it's HelloFresh. That's delicious mail.
That's delicious mail.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah. I'll let them know.
Thank you.
At the end of the stream, we will go through, because I have the box to my left. I have the refrigerated goods in the fridge, but I have all the other ingredients, the recipes. So we can show you what we got in our first HelloFresh box. It's the first time I've planned to cook for myself in a long time, Anthony.
Hey, treat yourself. Treat yourself to
say-
making yourself a little food.
I would say at the moment,
Yeah.
with like, oh, I have to go shopping, I have to do the whole thing with that kind of cooking. I would say I usually do that maybe like cooking, not like put something in the microwave.
Sure.
Maybe once a month at most. Where I like put ingredients together. Maybe less than once a month. Bordering on quarterly.
You know what, DeBerju? We would in fact say, it's been a while.
I would.
But no, this is great. HelloFresh, of course, sends you delicious meals, which you pick yourself from a long list of wonderful things they have available for you every week. And then you make them because they send you all kinds of easy instructions, and all of the ingredients are portioned out for people like me who have the ADHD and just cannot imagine things turning into meals. It's been very lovely. If you want to check it out for yourself, we've got a code for you for 21 free meals. It is right there. It says HelloFresh.
Yeah, there is a link that is popping up in the chat from our Stream Elements bot, and then you use this code You get free shipping. And that allows you, it'll be like, oh, you pay for this much and you get this many free ones. It's really great. I will say, like, fully honestly, I was a little worried because I'm a picky eater.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've never done a meal subscription service before for that reason.
I honestly, when you told me we were doing this, I was like, ooh, I wonder if that's going to work out.
For those who don't know, I have some like extreme food sensitivities, not in an allergy way, in a food frightens me way, just because of some like sensory processing disorder.
Watch this. Slice of tomato. See?
So with that in mind, I was like, I hope that they have something I can eat. And they had a bunch of stuff I can eat.
They had a lot of stuff.
I can eat.
When I was vegetarian, they had stuff for me. They had ways that we could split up the box between me and my partner who was not vegetarian at the time. They have a lot of different options. So it's been very, very good.
Yeah. So we've got some in there that we'll get to in a little bit, but there are 3 things that Saige will eat in there and one that Anthony will eat because he was excited about.
Well, Anthony will eat anything.
Anthony will eat all of them, but there's one that only Anthony will eat.
And that is the rich. That's not true. We would both eat the rich.
Yeah.
Hey, folks.
News.
Let's talk about it. Listen, if we don't talk about, you got to talk to your kids about the news and not the regular news. Let's talk to your kids about the important news. Goldeneye is coming out. Listen, this is like Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 20 years ago, Goldeneye came out, and then you look up and you go, oh my gosh, it's coming around again. Goldeneye 007.
Now it's coming to Switch online and Game Pass?
Yeah, so one of the big things that was stopping people from confirming or thinking that this rumor of a Goldeneye remake or re-release was happening for so long was Rare is, of course, owned by Microsoft now. Mm-hmm. How would Microsoft and Nintendo figure out the rights to Goldeneye to re-release it? And the answer is there are 2 versions of Goldeneye coming out, and they're both incomplete. So here's the deal. If you have Nintendo Switch Online, you will be able to... That's not even what's on my screen, and that's rude.
You got away from it.
It's still there.
Anthony.
I don't know what's happening. Quick, cut to another screen, a different screen, a better screen, a screen from another time.
That's my Twitter mentions.
That's your Twitter mentions.
I mean, it's not the spreadsheet. Does that help?
I mean, marginally. So here's the deal. Goldeneye, if you are on Switch Online, has multiplayer.
Yeah.
Goldeneye, if you are on Game Pass, is widescreen, is remastered, has all this wonderful stuff, but is not multiplayer. It's just single player.
Wait, but it doesn't have any of those things on Switch? It doesn't have a remaster?
No, the Switch game is a Nintendo 64 online. It's part of the game expansion.
It looks like a Nintendo 64 game.
Exactly, but it has the multiplayer. The Xbox One, poof.
But why would you want to play the multiplayer on the one that's a total of 4 pixels?
Well, I guess because it's handheld. And that's the way you played it before. So
yeah, we had TVs that accommodated that better.
I mean, Switch screen, very tiny. Maybe it'll look nice.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously we played our Nintendo 64 on like CRTVs that made the pixels look completely different.
And then we'd push the stick and hoop down the street.
Right. And then which one are you going to play?
Can I tell you what?
Neither.
Probably neither.
Yeah.
I'll check them both out. But I think you're right in that, like, if you're going to do Goldeneye, I need 4 people on a couch playing Goldeneye. That's the way Goldeneye works.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that this is, new control, the fact that the Xbox version has new control options, achievements, widescreen, up to 4K HD, that's great. But how much did we all play the single player of Goldeneye? Honestly, I don't think I ever finished the campaign of Goldeneye.
I don't remember. Our NDI is being a little extra laggy this morning.
NDI is having a time.
It sure is.
It's having a time. But there it is. It says 4-player split screen because it is.
Yeah, it's all one frame.
Listen, it's not running as badly as it looks like it's running, but it's also
great.
It's also running at the standard N64 frame rate of 20. Do you know that was the target frame rate for the N64?
I do.
That still blows my mind.
Yeah.
The target frame rate was like, hey, get a game running at 20 frames a second. You've really got something.
You've done it.
Gray They is saying, wasn't the point of single player just to unlock more multiplayer stuff? Yes.
I'll be honest, that is how I feel about a lot of multiplayer games.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a multiplayer guy. I love to play with a friend.
Yeah, if it's multiplayer and it was designed around it, I'm sure the single player is great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm sure it's wonderful. I'm sure, but I'm just not going to be there.
Sure.
But I also am incredibly antisocial, which means I buy a lot of multiplayer games and then imagine what they would be like to play with people. Because I also don't want to play online with strangers.
No.
With strangers?
Strangers. That's got stranger danger.
Oh, no. They could backtrace me. They could backtrace my IP, the internet police.
I suppose technically they could.
Think about that.
We're thinking about. We talked about this on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that it was coming, but unfortunately, people do continue to schedule their showcases after 8 a.m.
Literally right after we do a show sometimes.
It's always right after we do the show, and it's always on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday.
But this, we are, of course, talking about the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, which, can I be honest?
You may.
Bit of a mini-mishy.
It's hard because we defined the concept of a mini-mishy, and it was by number of game trailers.
I think it's relative.
I agree. And I think in this scenario, for it being Xbox and Bethesda, I agree. I think it was a bit of a mini-mishy.
It was a bit of a BB mini-mishy. Now, I thought it was a good showcase, but immediately after the showcase, everybody was like, where was Starfield? Where was Elder Scrolls 6? And they didn't tell you were going to see any of that. Mm-hmm. They did say that this is what was going to be kicking off 2023. And if you thought Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 were kicking off 2023, I love your optimism and enthusiasm, and I appreciate you for all you do. But that was not going to happen.
No. So, again, the NDI's lagging.
NDI's doing a little doopy lagging.
So here is the overview. This one is part of this up here is the Devolver portion. Hi-Fi Rush looks fun.
I have played it.
Yeah?
It was a surprise release.
Yeah.
It came out.
Like, we're going to make a game. Just kidding. We've made a game and it's already available. Would you like to play it now?
This is wild. Okay, number one, this is a Dreamcast game.
I knew when I saw it, you were going to say that. I knew.
It's a Dreamcast game.
Because the Jet Set Radio.
And you know that I'm there, but it's more than that. There's such an amalgam of wonderful things about Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush it's 2D cell shaded, looks like a cartoon, is based on rhythm components being in a game that shouldn't have rhythm components. That's very Dreamcast. And can we talk about, this was made by fucking Shinji Mikami.
Yeah.
And Tango Gameworks. We're talking about the Evil Within's Tango Gameworks making this candy-coated, colorful, Sunset Overdrive, Jet Set Radio ass fucking rhythm dancing fighting game with cartoon aesthetics. This is a Dreamcast game. That's all it is. And let me tell you, I have played it. It's on Game Pass because, of course, it's being published by Bethesda, Microsoft, which means Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, you should play it. If you don't have Game Pass, it's on Steam right now for $29.99, and I think it is 100% worth it. It is simply an action brawling beat 'em up in 3D, platforming, but everything in the world moves to the beat of the background music. And so if you attack on beat, you get bonuses and combos. You can tell when platforms are going to appear and disappear because of the sound of because of what count you're on the beat in the song.
Nice.
It is amazing. And you can chain combos together that are so you have a light and a heavy attack. Okay. So you can do a 1, 2, 3, 4 light attack combo.
Yeah.
You can do a 1, 2, 3 heavy attack combo, but you can mix them up and rest for beats, and he'll do foot taps and stuff. And so you can be like, and just
beatbox.
You can just go for like 20, 30 hits in a row. Like there's one of the first achievements is like, hey, did you get 50 hits in a row 5 times? Because here you go. This is Hi-Fi Rush. It's so good.
Amazing.
I love it so much.
In continued announcements, they announced, of course, a new Minecraft game. This is a Minecraft action strategy game called Minecraft Legends.
Yeah, and we'd heard about Minecraft Legends. We knew it was brewing. Blackbird Interactive is working on it, and it is kind of like a online multiplayer RTS set in Minecraft. And they showed off some of the PvP stuff during the showcase, which was very interesting. You know, the worlds for PvP are going to be procedural, just like they're going to be for single player, just like they are for Minecraft. So it's a procedural map. Everybody that you come in with on your team, you have to share resources to build your base and build your army, which means you can't do these things single player. You have to team up. And you're going to be going up against other teams of players, and of course the piglins, who are the bad guys. And I'll tell you what, Saige, this is another one of those things where I'm not a Minecraft guy. But every time they release any kind of Minecraft showcase, I'm like, that's clever and it looks good.
So, as my experience as someone who casually, occasionally plays Minecraft now, but in my late teens was like a Minecraft guy.
Sure.
The guy was real fucking into Minecraft.
Yeah.
It was before there was like Minecraft merch and stuff like that. It was just like, I go home every day and I play Minecraft.
Yeah, you were a fan of Minecraft before it was big.
That's kind of what I'm saying. But it's very interesting to see a lot of these because obviously like the fan community for Minecraft is so active. And like fan servers have done pretty much everything you could ever do in Minecraft.
Sure.
So like I look at this game and I'm like, that game existed 10 years ago in a fan server.
That's true.
So I'm excited to play it. I saw this and I was like, fuck yeah, I can't wait to play this with friends. This looks so much fun. But they used to be, now this is a real relic of the time, they were called Hunger Games servers. They were all Hunger Games servers.
Yeah.
Where you would be like, let go, and it was about like survival and PvP. And those still exist. They're just not called that anymore. I don't know what they call them now. They might just be like PvP servers, but at the time, they really tried to theme it with like drops like the Hunger Games. They're called
Yellow Jacket servers now.
Yeah. They're Euphoria servers.
They're Euphoria servers.
For no reason.
For no reason at all. But because they're not survival games anymore, it's ask your kids if they're doing sex and drugs in Minecraft.
You know.
Do you know where your kids are? Because they're probably doing sex and drugs in Minecraft.
This looks like so much fun. What was the release date on this?
April 18th.
April. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, everything that they announced is coming out first half of the year, which I think is really nice and also explains why it was a bit of a mini mishy.
Yeah. They're all very soon.
They're all very soon. But you know, and they're all pretty big releases too, minus Hi-Fi Rush, which was the surprise release. But we also got some more footage of Redfall. Which is coming out on May 2nd and just keeps looking better and better, in all honesty.
Agreed. I've been excited about this since first announcement.
Yeah, I mean, this is of course Arcane, and this is their first fully open world thing. And you're vampire hunters with special powers, and they showed off a lot of the traversal. They showed off a lot of the characters' special abilities, including the one character who has her little attack robot that you can send out and like distract people. I thought was very, very fun. But they also showed off the stuff that really made it look like an Arcane thing. They're like, here's a place in the game, in the hub world, where you can get missions from people.
Yeah.
But it's not just like one mission at a time. Like you can go around and be doing a bunch of things because it's all open world and persistent now, which I think is very fascinating. Arcane, of course, just the absolute kings and legends of environmental storytelling. And so I'm very excited to see what happens with this game. And I can't believe it's so close.
It's another one that I can't wait to play with friends.
I know. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? It's kind of like Arcane's. People were saying it's Arcane's Left 4 Dead, and they're really trying to get away from that.
It doesn't give a lot of Left 4 Dead feelings.
No.
For me.
Now that they've shown more gameplay, I think a lot of people have sort of like cooled it on that.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like 4-player Arcane killing monsters.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's vampire.
a vampire.
I will say there is a part of me that's like, but want to be vampire.
Want to be vampire. And like maybe there's a little something they aren't telling us yet.
Nah, it's
Maybe.
okay. We'll have a lot of fun being vampire hunters together.
The next thing they announced was they talked about Forza. You gotta talk about Forza. They talked about the same stuff that they would talk about with a Forza, which is how they did spectral analysis camera shots of car paint to make sure the car paint looks exactly right.
That's very impressive.
It's
It looks like the cars go fast.
they do go fast.
Look good.
They sound engine,
Loud.
car loud, drive, very realistic car.
Yeah. Hey, as someone who hates being around cars, it's very realistic.
It's look,
Hyper realistic.
I like, and Forza Motorsport is just like Gran Turismo, is just like anything else where it's like, this is about real car nerd wonks and real technology wonks, like just doing the best they can with a system to make the best vroom vrooms and make it very impressive. I like the version of Forza where your car launches off a cliff immediately in the beginning and two people in wingsuits that are doing colored smoke fly by, and then you do a barrel roll, and then motorcycles explode, and then
So you like the Fast and the Furious?
yeah, but also Forza Horizon. And there are hot air balloons. Do they have trucks? They did. The final thing that they showed in the showcase was Elder Scrolls Online, which is still extant. It exists. You can keep playing it. It's apparently been going for like 1,000,000 years.
Yeah, of course.
Still going.
This looks like a very, very cool next chapter in it.
This is the Morrowind chapter, which people have been really waiting for.
Necrom.
This is going to take everybody back to Morrowind, your favorite kingdom full of large mushrooms and long text blocks.
Which is saying something, because actually there's a lot of games that have, lands full of mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. But not like Morrowind.
Yeah.
Morrowind's got those good long text blocks and those very deep, weird, and broken systems. Morrowind, of course, is still like just huge with Elder Scrolls fans. I mean, the amount of the lengths people will go to play Morrowind.
Uh-huh.
Like there's that open microwave is what it's called on Android, where it's like, it's a framework that just runs Morrowind on Android, and it's like fan made. Like people are still making content updates and new textures and new models, and people just want Morrowind to exist forever. So I can see this being a pretty big draw to ESO if people aren't playing it already.
I've never played it. Have you?
Yeah, there were a lot of crabs, and I fought a lot of crabs. I mean, it was beginning content, so,
I mean, Skyrim is one of my favorite games of all time. Love Oblivion, but I never got into ESO. I just never did it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are the same way, and
I did try it.
Did you fight a lot of crabs?
I tried it the last time they released like a next chapter. I mean, depending on how frequently
was that the crab fall update?
I think I did one in like 2020
Yeah,
for the first time.
or was that Kingdom of Crab?
That was it wasn't Kingdom. They were not royal crabs. It
Yeah.
was the peasant crabs.
Peasant Crab Uprising.
Yeah.
That was a good season. That was a pretty good season.
You got to be a crab.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. They have a free trial for ESO Plus now, which will make all past chapters and past DLC available to any players with the ESO base game. So the base game is free to play, and the current chapter is always free to play, but they're putting like 12 years of back content up if you're ESO Plus.
Very cool.
Might be worth jumping into. I don't know if you're not already playing an MMO, or maybe if you are. Maybe play all MMOs all the time.
Yeah, I've fallen off of Final Fantasy 14. So falling off of Final Fantasy 14 is a lot of fun.
Oh, we forgot to turn on our fancy lights.
Oh, we did.
Turn on our fancy lights.
Just a moment.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We look ridiculous. We look absolutely foolish right now. I can't believe this. How utterly you deserve more. We're going to start over.
Hello and good morning.
Hello and good morning, BBs. It's too early. Let's talk about Goldeneye.
Let's talk about instead Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Ooh, let me tell you. There's a reason. It's not correlation is not causation, but if there's a reason Saige has fallen off of, say, every other game, it might be Mickey Mouse Murder Simulator.
Disney Dreamlight Valley has been my jam since it came out. I love this game. I think it is a near perfect farming sim. Mm-hmm. It has some glitches that I would like for them to fix, but
sure,
they're not prohibitive, in my opinion.
It's doing great. It's selling like the sweetest hotcakes. Not just hotcakes, Saige.
The good hotcakes.
Like some good fucking hotcakes.
Like some good breadsticks at an auto body shop.
Ooh, like the best breadsticks your mechanics ever made for you. That's how Dreamlight Valley's selling. Gameloft did just lay off a lot of people.
Uh-oh.
As did everyone who's making record sales this year. But they also announced an update to Disney's Dreamlight Valley. And it is going to include Encanto and Olaf.
I'm so freaking excited for Encanto.
Yep.
I love that movie so much. I realized somebody asked me the other day, they were like, what is your favorite of like the Disney princess movies?
Ooh.
I know it's like right on the edge of that where it's like, it's not really a princess.
Yeah.
I know that she doesn't count as a princess, but I don't care.
But you can just
so good.
You can just say Disney film. That's totally fine.
Big fan. So I recently got back in. I hadn't played for like a month or so.
Okay.
I started playing again this week on stream.
Any new clues as to what Mickey was up to?
You know, what's very interesting is no. He's keeping his lips real tight on that. He's waiting for me to make him some crudités, and I refuse. So he's not giving me any information because I refuse to cook for him.
He's got the political power.
Yeah.
He's got the political power. He's untouchable.
So I'm so fucking excited because I have just been like preparing for this update, trying to get stuff in shape a little bit, unlock all of the map because it's almost February. I'm so glad this is where we're starting.
Yeah, it's starting right there in February with Mirabelle.
Mirabelle and Olaf. Both in February.
Damn.
Both at the same time.
So you got what? So you got one for the cools and one for the basics. You know what I mean? A little something for everybody.
Cools, though.
Cools.
It's cold. Unfortunately, that does make that Olaf.
No, we cannot make it Olaf.
I know, but you said cool. And
cool.
Anyways, this is the most exciting roadmap for a few reasons. One, you get your star paths coming up. I love the star paths. I think they're very fun.
Yeah, and we should be expecting a lot of big things from Disney in the next few months for the 100th anniversary of the company. So all Disney games and Disney things will probably have like 100th anniversary stuff coming up, and I expect that content to be pretty good. April is Simba.
So exciting.
Look at his shiny mane.
I love his shiny mane.
He's brushed it 100 times on each side. He truly is royalty.
And then the star path there is celebrating the Disney park. I'm so into that. I hope we get cool Disney park stuff that we can put out in our village. That would be very cool to me. Like I want a roller coaster. I want a Ferris wheel in my village.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Little Disney rides that you could put in.
You know how Animal Crossing has like the little teacups and stuff that you can get?
Yeah, they should have little carnival rides or
Right.
little versions of Disney rides.
Early summer, unveil the secret to the forgetting. A princess races into the valley. We don't know what, I mean, it looks like that's going to be Cinderella.
There is some Cinderella. We also know that Belle is coming later on this year.
So that's in the next one. So this pumpkin implies to me, but I also know that this is the update where you're going to be able to edit the outside of your house to look different, I believe.
Oh, that's huge.
Which is very exciting.
That's huge.
That doesn't have the announced star path yet, but this is truly more to come in 2023. Multiplayer!
Multiplayer's huge.
Multiplayer, characters, new realms, clothing and motifs, decorations and furniture, of course, but new realms and multiplayer.
So they spoke a little bit, Polygon spoke a little bit to the lead designer of Dreamlight Valley, and Dreamlight Valley said, we get to tell our own stories where we get to show this metaphor of growing up and finding our inner child. The world itself is the best way to tell our stories. Every character will add to the main story. They're saying Olaf is going to be a huge part of the main story. Olaf's quests are some of his favorites that they've designed yet. One example, so they've got new areas coming out with a lot of these characters, including Lion King Scar, which takes the player into a previously hidden area of the valley, an underground mine.
We already have that.
Oh, okay.
That was the previous update.
Oh, Scar is already there?
Yeah, Scar is there. Simba
Okay.
isn't.
Mirabelle is more of an onboarding character. You don't have to play a lot of hours to meet Mirabelle and have fun with her. She's going to bring her own version of Casita to the game.
Mini Casita.
Mini Casita.
Have you seen Encanto?
No,
Anthony.
I know.
Oh, will you watch Encanto? It's so good.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
It's so cute.
I'll watch it. I love musical stories of generational trauma and forgiveness.
It's beautiful. I will also cry at Casita Jafricus. Alonzo said, please let multiplayer be better than the Animal Crossing multiplayer. I don't want to do paperwork to play with people.
I have a feeling it won't be. That's very no, it won't be as bad.
Oh. I was like, no.
I have a feeling it won't be paperwork and stuff. We're talking about Xbox. We're talking about Xbox Game Pass. We're talking about iOS game. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff is way easier. It's going to remain to be seen what it's like cross-platform. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the tricky thing. And it's always like, well, are you going to have it? How's it going to work?
Yeah.
But I think you log in with a Gameloft ID, right?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't remember. Because I had to buy mine on the Xbox app to get it on my Game Pass. So I play it on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. But we know at least that gives PC and Xbox crossplay.
I think it was already on Game Pass.
I'm saying it's on Game Pass.
Oh, okay. But you paid for it?
No, I'm saying I had to get it from my Xbox app.
Oh, okay. I was like,
from Game Pass.
Gotcha. I was like, oh no.
Buy it. You can buy it right now.
You can.
If you don't have Game Pass, but
you do have a habit sometimes of getting excited about a game and buying it before you check Game Pass.
I do that. I do. Especially a game that I was this excited about. Honestly, though, when we talked about it, I was like, oh, it's cute. You know,
yeah.
Well, it seems cute. I'm into that.
No.
I didn't think I was going to like it this much.
After that first stream, you were like, Anthony.
It's so good.
Anthony.
It's so good.
Dreamlight Valley. Didn't grab me as much as it grabbed you.
Sure.
But I do
is
think it's incredibly well designed.
It's my genre.
In games that are really super similar to Dreamlight Valley, Dead Space came out this week.
Yes, it did. It's Dead Space Week.
It's Dead Space Week. The remake came out, and we have got some review roundups. Everybody seems to really be loving it, which is a great sign.
Yeah.
This was not just a re-release and upscaling, any of those stuff. They started from scratch and wrote all new code. Mm-hmm. They were very, very vocal about that. And while that is, number one, interesting and very exciting and ambitious, it also made people go, ooh, is it going to feel like Dead Space? Is it going to feel enough like Dead Space? The trick of making a game that's like 7th gen. Yeah. Because 7th gen games almost feel the same as like games do now. Yeah. It was when we started really codifying it's when we really started codifying how modern games play. Yeah. And people were like, well, I just want that, but like a little polished. And it seems like that's what everybody got. Game Informer says the story from the original is largely intact, with key elements either remixed or expanded with greater context based on lore established later in the series. That's fun.
At the end of it, they say a rework that makes more sense in context to the point that I now prefer it over its original incarnation.
Whoa. That's huge. Dead Space IGN says Dead Space's main man is humanized even further in the remake by his ability to talk rather than merely accept his crewmates' orders without so much as a silent nod. Now, I liked Isaac as a silent protagonist. I enjoy a silent protagonist in a video game. Mm-hmm. It allows me to, to put my own ideas about what I might have said as the character in there.
Yeah.
I like that. But they say, thankfully, this is done sparingly. Isaac only speaks when spoken to and doesn't deliver Nathan Drake-style quips while he's pruning limbs off of space zombies. Instead, his moment-to-moment status is indicated by his heavy breathing and hurried heartbeat it heard in moments of eerie silence, exactly as it should be. I like that. He only talks specifically in dialogue scenes, which is great.
And I'm not team never voice the main character.
No.
I think it very much depends on the game.
Yeah, well, it's tricky when the original one had no voice.
Right.
That's the tricky thing, right?
Absolutely, I agree. It would be very difficult now to be like, and he's chatty.
Yeah, but there was nothing listen. I like a cool, tough, silent, murderous Samus Aran.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who doesn't love a Samus Aran?
And then Other M was scared talky baby Samus Aran. And listen, there was a way to make Samus talk without ruining that character.
Sure.
Which they didn't ruin the character. That game is just bad. But you know what I mean? And there's a lot of people have been drawing comparisons between like Metroid Prime and Dead Space because we don't get a lot of like the sci-fi cosmic horror stuff, which I wish we got more of.
Agreed.
But it's
We've
nice.
slowly been getting more. It's having a little bit of a moment, I would say.
I love that we're getting more. Polygon says the remake brings the Ishimura back to life in visually stunning ways. Everything's been rebuilt in painstaking detail. It's undoubtedly the star of developer Motive's remake, a more believable and varied ship than the one seen in the original game. I love that. It results in the best possible version of Isaac Clarke's trek through a veritable hell and hopefully the revival of a horror game franchise that flamed out too soon. I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Dead Space 3 was a victim of EA's monetization and included pass thing that they were doing for a while, the online pass.
Yeah, which I paid for a minute because I wanted all the Star Wars games they had on it.
Oh, no, not before that, when they were doing individual online passes that came when you bought a new copy of the game. You remember that? Oh. And you couldn't buy a used copy of the game because you wouldn't have access to the multiplayer. Yeah. So they were like, well, you can buy the game used and save $10 and then we'll charge you $10 for the multiplayer. So we still make money off of you. It was more when they were doing that sort of stuff and just adding micro payments. And then they also really wanted to... I think all franchises, when they get a couple games in, get to this point where like they start filing all the rough edges off. But as they do that, they file off the things that make it original. Yeah. And Dead Space 3 was very much like just an action game.
Yeah, much more generic.
It was just like a big budget tentpole summer action video game. And it was a bummer. And I feel like now we're in a place where people understand and respect like horror games as a genre more. Yeah. Because we were sort of going through a dip at the time that Dead Space 3 came out. It was like very big on PS1 and PS2. It was like horror games. And then we took that dip into like the third person action, like the big budget stuff. And everybody's like, everything's got to be big budget. It's got to sell 20 bazillion units. And now they're like, no, we're going to make this horror game and it'll sell like 2 or 3 mil.
Right. To the people who want to play a horror game. They don't have to, I think a lot of the time, because when you want to do something that's like, oh, this is going to be the biggest game, then it has to appeal to everyone.
And it's like, well, I don't want to play. I like the look of it, but I don't want to play scary game. It's like, don't worry. This is now a game for everybody. And it's like, no. Has to be scary game. Otherwise, what is it?
That's the point.
Otherwise, just another shoot man in a metal suit.
I saw in the live studio audience, Scott Davis 136 said, my buddy and I are starting it tonight and ordering a pizza.
Nice.
That sounds like a good night.
Chafrikas also says, Saige, that if you sign in with Gameloft or create a Gameloft account, Dreamlight is cross-platform across all platforms.
All platforms?
Apparently.
Because I know that I go all the time between my Xbox and my PC.
There's probably a place in the Xbox version to connect to a Gameloft account, I would imagine, and then you can probably do it, because then you could play it on mobile. Then you never have to stop playing Dreamlight Valley.
I just want it on my Switch.
That's coming.
It's out on Switch.
It's out on Switch?
It's out
okay.
on Switch, but I just didn't think that it was... I would be able to log into the same one.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's by Gameloft login, I might be able to. Very interesting.
Fraud Monet says, any chance we can get an entirely new DS3? I think if I'm EA Motive, here's what I want to do. Number one, I just want to take a break and take a lunch. You've been overworking and crunching me forever. It's not worth it.
Sure.
Putting that aside. Talking more about Dead Space. This is what I'm going to do if I'm EA Motive. This is a pretty faithful remake of the first one. What I would do is do the second one again, or do a Dead Space 2 that is the same plot of the second one,
but completely remade.
But remake it and take it in different places. And then by the time you get to Dead Space 3, if people are still into it, totally new.
Yeah, completely new.
Completely new story.
You don't think they just go on to Dead Space 4 and skip 3?
And then Isaac fell asleep for a very long time.
Yeah. Anyways. Speaking of moving on.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog seems to have moved on from Uncharted. This was surprising to me.
I was not surprised, but I was surprised that they were allowed to say it publicly.
That is, I feel you on that. I think that's it. I think them saying it and the finality of that, which a lot of companies won't allow that finality in case they change their mind, in case they're like, shit, we really need to make another one of these in case something pops off,
Yeah. But this was, Neil Druckmann was saying, hey, we've told the Uncharted story, which I think is true. Like when you play Uncharted 4, the moment you play Uncharted 4 and they sit down and they play Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted 4, I said, oh, they're not doing this anymore. This is it. This is
done.
This is their love letter to themselves. And I was like, oh, okay.
All done.
All done. But they also said, surprisingly, like, we're done with Uncharted. We don't need to make any more. But also, we may not make a Last of Us 3, and Sony's not pressuring us. And there's a reason for that. The Last of Us is now a big television franchise. Neil Druckmann is probably not long for Naughty Dog, if you know what I mean. The moment he can start making a similar amount of money directing television or movies, he's out. He's 100% out. He's been wanting to, he seems like a guy that's been wanting to make movies for a long time. But also I think like if you make a Last of Us 3, people will expect the show to follow the game. Which creates a whole can of worms. We saw it with Game of Thrones.
Right.
And then it becomes like, well, you can't make the show go ahead of the games. You can't make the games go ahead of the show. It becomes a thing where like all these teams have to work together.
Yeah.
It's probably not worth it. It's probably worth it to have Naughty Dog working on whatever is going to be the next 360 multi-million-dollar multimedia franchise for Sony.
That does make sense.
You know?
They've done it. And then, I mean, honestly, with the movie performing so poorly, I think they're just like, okay, because here's the thing. If that movie had absolutely popped off, there's no way they'd be able to move on.
Maybe.
I think if the Uncharted movie, because it's not the TV series that's going to have something ongoing.
Right.
I think if the Uncharted movie had absolutely popped off, I mean, it's possible they just do a couple more movies, but if it renewed a bunch of interest in the game, which it likely would have. Yeah. If people had enjoyed it.
Yeah, and they already remastered them all.
Right.
You can't remaster them yet.
You can't just remaster.
You got to do a new one. Yeah, that's interesting. Man, I'm still bummed about that Uncharted movie because I love Uncharted. I love the story. I love the characters. I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah. And when they said they were making a movie, I was like, it's one of those games where I was like, man, I don't know if they can make it as good as the game because they had just done such a good job with the story and the feeling of the games. And then it went through just so many directors and so many different people and so many Nathan Drakes.
Yeah. I agree with the new Diabolic in the live studio audience who said they put Wahlberg in the movie and took any desire to watch Uncharted away.
Yeah. I mean, you know why that is, right? It's so wild. The reason he played Sully in that movie is because that movie's been in development for so long that originally he was supposed to be Nathan Drake. That's how long they had been working on that movie. And David O. Russell was going to direct it, and David O. Russell and Mark Wahlberg worked together all the time.
David O. Russell was going to direct it?
He was going to do Uncharted. Isn't that wild? It was like right after, I want to say it was right after Silver Linings Playbook.
As someone who's worked with David O. Russell, bold move.
Yeah. Listen,
Mark Wahlberg.
If you want to make everyone on set cry and also worried about just the tiniest thing going wrong to the point where they have PTSD, you want to hire David O. Russell and Mark Wahlberg.
Wow.
The stories. Have you ever watched Lily Tomlin talking about working with him for I Heart Huckabees?
I was there.
That's right. No, but did you see like what she said publicly though?
Yeah, but I heard the fight.
No, I did.
Like, she talks about the fight they got into.
Yeah.
I heard it.
She told the whole story.
Yeah.
She was like, "No, he's an asshole. He made me cry.
There's a
he
video.
was yelling at me. Yeah,
He threw things at her.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I Heart Huckabees used to be one of my favorite movies, and then I was like, you can't do that to Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
Or Saige.
I was fine. I was a child. He was drunk and nice to me.
He was drunk and nice to me.
Anyways.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I was like,
I forgot that you were in it.
this is my quarterly reminder to everybody. Yes, I was a child actor. No, I don't find it flattering when you message me and are like, hey, because of this conversation, I went back and I watched you as a child in something.
No.
It's okay if you see it, but honestly, I'm 8 in it. Don't go out of your way to do that. I don't want you to do that. Know that. If that helps. Just a quarterly reminder from your local, now adult, former child actor. Just like...
Though it is fun that there are a lot of photos of you on the internet with like a large sheet of glass through your face.
Anyway, moving on. Hey everyone, as a reminder, today's episode of It's Too Early is sponsored by HelloFresh.
HelloFresh.
You can get yourself some delicious meals. Hey, you don't know how to cook? You don't have to. Don't have a lot of time to cook? You don't have to either. They send delicious meal kits right to your door. We're going to unbox the ones that we got earlier. And I'm going to cook myself some gosh darn dinner tonight.
They send you exactly the amount of ingredients you need. They send you really easy to follow instructions, lots of pictures, which is great for me because I don't understand anything. And you get to pick exactly what you want. You can get 21 free meals by going to HelloFresh and using that code. And hey, that's a counter on the bottom of that.
Yeah, we've got 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
10 is our goal for this activation. There is a link in the chat if you want to check it out for yourself. I'm very excited. I'm looking at a plant-based protein ragu right now.
I'm looking at a plant-based protein ragu, is what she said.
We'll open it up later. But that's it. Just as a reminder. Very cool of you.
Yeah. Speaking about kind of more games that have stopped and are stopping and will stop and have stopped forever, Data miners found some stuff in the latest version of Marvel's Avengers.
Sure did.
Found a lot of stuff, including a lot of stuff with Jane Foster, Jennifer Walters, and Carol Danvers all hanging out and talking together.
It is kind of wild that the game ended before we got all these women.
Yeah.
And look, there are women in the game.
There are women in the game.
There could be more.
And apparently there were supposed to be. Patch 2.7.2 includes outpost banter between Jane Foster and 3 other heroes, Winter Soldier, She-Hulk, and Captain Marvel. All of Jane's lines were recorded and done. Bucky is listed as finished. Jen and Carol are both still in the works. So there's a lot of stuff that was supposed to make it in soon. If the game had continued. So the conversations are available in full. And this is all like fun base banter, right? Fun in between mission banter. There's a bit where Jane mentions to Jennifer that Thor and Bruce Banner challenged them to a fight as two Thors versus two Hulks with Captain America as the judge. And they talk about that. They talk about Jennifer proposing an Avengers softball team because she got kicked off of her law firm's softball team for obvious reasons. Captain Marvel, Carol asks Jane if Asgardians are aliens or gods, and Jane replies, yes.
Nice.
The two also joke about a race to Egypt between Captain Marvel and Thor, and then set up their own race to Saturn and back.
God, that would have been cool.
It's pretty neat. I mean, look, this is the stuff that we wanted.
Maybe we stop putting women all the way at the end of the list.
Maybe
we stop putting all of these really cool characters all the way at the end of the list.
Look, I mean, based on that game, here's the thing. We love the dialogue. We love the fun of it. Like we love seeing new characters. That game ain't great. There they are. The great value Avengers. Bless their hearts.
Yeah.
That's a MODOK.
Yeah, we got MODOK before we got all of those characters. Isn't that kind of wild? I couldn't even remember his name. I know he had a whole show.
I mean, I think he was a bad guy. I don't think he was a controllable character.
Okay.
Because it was. I think he was from the AIM update where you go up against AIM.
Got it.
But listen to me. Maybe if there had been a controllable Jane Foster and MODOK, I would have checked out your game. I would have played one of my 3 free copies that I got sent.
Blue Pointer said, I appreciate that Bucky's at the end with the women. Yeah. Would have been nice.
Bucky, honestly, can I tell you something?
You may.
For a dude that's got as many issues as Bucky Barnes has going on.
Your problematic fave.
He really does get along with, respect, and integrate well into groups of women in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You'd think with all of his issues, all of his PTSD and his anger and the fact that you can make him kill somebody by saying like 8 words, you'd think it wouldn't happen, but he's very, very good at that.
It's almost like when you write a character, you have a choice. Anyway. I want to show you this. It's very silly.
Yeah.
We love the modding community here. We love to talk about a good game mod here. There is a realism mod for Fallout 4.
Oh, good.
Now, if you were to think
Metal Husband.
Right. So I personally, come on, there we go. I love Fallout 4. I think it's a great game.
I literally just think of Fallout 4 as a very good series of Monster Factory.
It is. It's also very good. But they introduced something that makes the game make sense. So it's Fallout 4, but the intro is more realistic.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
We love a realism mod.
I love the look of Fallout. I can't help it.
Dude, that 1950s, like space age, mid-century, everything's going to be all right. Okay. Metal Husband still exists. So not the most realism.
This is the realism. You go outside and instead of being the last person to climb into a bunker, it hits and you die immediately and it ends the game.
That's a quality mod.
They're like, hey, it's unrealistic that the protagonist is the last person to enter, closing it right as it hits. No, I don't think so.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
It just ends the game. That's it. That's the whole mod, man.
That's very good.
Mod man.
I want to talk about the most pre-ordered, most wish-listed game on Steam that is totally cool and good and not a series of scams that gets progressively worse and not strange at all. The Day Before.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. This is a game from an independent studio that came out, and it was basically like MMO The Last of Us. And everybody's like, oh my God, I want to play this. This sounds amazing. This is unbelievable. And then some stuff started coming out about the developers. Fantastic. Like they were having the community help develop the game for like fun community points. Do you remember this?
I do remember this, and it was bad.
Like,
we've talked about this on the show before.
yeah, like they were having people that are like, hey, if you want to get involved with the game, we'll give you like points that you can like get free copies of the game or like in-game currency when the game comes out. Are you a programmer? Do you know Unreal 5? Can you fucking help us? Help us.
This feels like a couple of things. One, it feels like a Goncharov of video games. But two, it also feels like the hyper-realistic dinosaur game
Yeah.
that somebody on Reddit was going to make.
Yes.
Izzy's did the video on it.
Yes, the dragon
That's
game.
what it was. It wasn't dinosaur. It was
Yes.
hyper-realistic dragon.
Yeah,
game.
100% science-based dragon game.
Yeah, 100% science-based dragon game. It feels like a 100% science-based dragon game.
Yes, it really does. All of the trailers look, you know, like pre-wound and pre-animated.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be gameplay that was coming out. One of the mods on the Discord, one of their Discord mods said, I don't think this game is real. He said they can confirm, those who wonder if the game is real, I'm wondering the same right now. This is the lead mod on the Discord. Nobody saw the gameplay. Nobody. And here's the thing. The game was supposed to come out in March.
Uh-huh.
This big gameplay thing was supposed to come out. And Fantastic, they were acting like releasing this gameplay made them the best and coolest people in the world, and we didn't deserve it. But here it is. I guess if you want it so bad.
I guess if you really need us to prove that there's a game.
I guess. And then the game disappeared from Steam. They announced that the game disappeared from Steam, and they announced that the game is being moved to November 19th. When asked why, they said somebody else trademarked The Day Before. Some dude trademarked the name The Day Before, and one of the things they trademarked it for was interactive and online gaming. So they can't use the name. Now, why this would mean you have to delay it until November 19th, nobody knows. It does sort of explain why the Steam page is gone, because that could be, the page existing could be trademark infringement. So the trademark holder could have asked for the page to be taken down.
Yeah.
They could have taken the page down to avoid legal action from the trademark holder. But this November 19th delay, now, and then afterwards, they said, oh, well, we were going to delay it anyway. The trademark stuff was just like a good time to delay it.
Sure.
We were going to delay it after we released the gameplay, but then the trademark stuff happened. And then my girlfriend, she goes to school in another county, and you probably don't know her, but she is beautiful.
And she needed some stuff, so I had to.
She's so hot, and she likes to kiss me, and I'm making a video game, and it's going to be good.
And she's a doctor, and so am I.
That's right. George Santos is developing this video game. Topical humor, everybody. That's topical political humor. So yeah, is this game coming out?
No. I'm gonna say no.
I don't think this is game. I don't think this is game.
Did you read this?
Oh, here we go.
Dear fans, right before the release, Steam blocked our game page at the request of a private individual because of the name The Day Before.
Oh, right before the release, we were going to put out this.
We were going to give it to you.
The gameplay. There's no other way to release gameplay than a Steam page. If you can figure out how to put video on the internet without it being on a Steam page,
fucking let us know.
Please.
I asked my girlfriend in Canada, and she didn't know.
She said it's illegal. And then she was like, do you want a picture of my boobs? Because I have a girlfriend.
Our game was announced in January 2021. At the time of announcement, The Day Before game trademark was available. That's worse. Don't tell us that. You just didn't get it. After the announcement of the game, the above-mentioned individual filled out an application before us to register the game trademark the day before.
That's so, listen, one of two things is happening here. You're lying or you're dumb. Or both? Or three? But like, you really announced your game before holding the rights to the name of your game.
Yeah, they did.
Here's the thing. People think that these guys are scammers, and I think there might be a level of that, but I think more than anything, they are just in over their head. They're just inexperienced and they don't understand this stuff, and they don't get why anything they're doing is incorrect.
That's why I think it's like the 100% science-based dragon game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that person wanted to make a 100% science-based dragon game. They just didn't know how to make a fucking video game.
Yeah.
And I think these guys were like, yeah, I want to make a video game. You want to make a video game? And they're like, hell yeah, I do. And people were like, okay, make the video game.
It's like, ooh, this is a lot of work.
Ooh.
Will you help us make the video game with us? If you
you could make the video game.
If you like the video game so much, why don't you make it?
Yeah.
Is what they said. Well, yeah, why don't you marry it? I would marry it, but I already have a girlfriend in Canada. Sorry.
Anthony?
Yeah.
My Discord is up on the other monitor, and I have to keep staring at this. So I think we should watch it.
Oh.
This isn't. One might say this isn't news. I wouldn't agree with them.
No, I wouldn't agree. This is absolutely news.
Okay, so there's full screen and
this is Woody Wolf. Woody Wolf has the agility of 1,000 babies.
1,000 babies.
1,000 babies.
The video is playing a little bit in slow motion because NDI is just acting up today. But thank you to Flatlander. This was posted in my Discord. This isn't even the It's Too Early channel. It's been up on the other monitor for so long, and I just want to see Woody Wolf so bad.
Woody Wolf, I love that cam at the dog show.
Me too.
I love the tube cam. Whoever set up that tube cam the first time, you really elevated dog shows.
Yeah.
Got to wait on the little. I love watching a dog just completely do this agility course perfectly, especially when it's like a little floof that just has nothing in its brain except happy.
Look how happy he legs.
Doing the little between the posts, the slalom that they have to do, and it's just like boom, 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 boom,
and then Cambridge treats.
Boom, hey, ha, who? It's me, Woody Wolf.
So good.
That's so good.
Little puff ball right in the middle.
Just a little puff.
Just a little puff. Anyways. We should take intermissions from the news for dogs more often.
We really should. Boy. I'm going to skip a couple of these.
Okay, let's go to some big pop culture news.
Pop culture news.
This was a big one. If you're a fan of Critical Role, Amazon announced an overall TV and first look film deal with Critical Role, which is not surprising given the success so far of Vox Machina. They greenlit a Mighty 9 animated series.
Huge.
Already. So it seems like there's going to be a lot more like multimedia and like television stuff coming from Critical Role, which is not surprising. I mean, they knocked it out of the park on the first try. And this loves Vox Machina.
It sounds like they're going to be contracting Titmouse for more animation, which is wonderful. Local animation company that we all really love. And they have created their own production company and shingle to kind of do this stuff with Amazon, which is called MetaPigeon, of course.
Sure, of course.
Of course.
What else?
So this is a huge deal. It's nice to see people that just started doing what they love and are also good at it and understand the business of it.
100%. We've got a bunch of friends over at Critical Role. We're very happy for all of our lovely friends over there. I think what's interesting about this to me is there was a time on the internet where a lot of people started jumping to television, to movies, etc., and it wasn't working. Over and over and over again, it wasn't working in every format. You think back to the OG YouTubers that got Nickelodeon deals. You think back to the Fred TV series. You think back to...
My buddy was a producer on that Fred talk show. He was like
There was a talk show?
There was a Fred talk show.
It's also like the scripted
There was the
Nickelodeon show. I didn't know there were two.
There was a talk show as well. And my buddy was a writer on it. And another one of my buddies was a producer on it.
Wow.
And they were like, nobody knew what they were doing.
I feel like Grace had at least one TV thing. Maybe was it two?
Potentially. She just showed up in TV stuff too. Because as an actor.
Like based on like launched from her channel and
Hannah Hart. Hannah Hart was showing up on a lot of stuff too as well.
They had their own show for a good minute.
That makes sense.
There was a bunch of stuff that kicked off, that launched, that they gave the attempt for. And then you had Lily Singh take over like a late night talk show. That also didn't land.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like they were trying in every format to make the jump from digital to the like mainstream media.
Thank you. Chunders says Grace had a talk show.
Grace had a talk show. There we go. Thank you very much. And then Miranda Sings had a show. Miranda Sings got a Netflix series.
Yep. I remember that.
And a lot of these unfortunately just tanked.
Yeah. I think some of these things we're learning work in the medium that they are made for. And some of these things are built in a way where they can be intelligently built out. Like a lot of early YouTube success came from people that did a thing and it just stuck and took off.
Yeah.
And they didn't really have the benefit of the experience or the ability to kind of plan where this would go.
Sure.
When Jacob started doing the Fred thing, it was just like a goof. Lucas, thank you. Lucas Jacob. I knew it was one of those like extremely youth group white kid names. So like when he started doing it, he was a teenager that was doing it mostly to like make his family laugh. It was like on a shared YouTube channel that he and his cousins would post videos on.
Yeah.
There was no plan to take the Fred character and make it into I think the thing about like, I think Grace is an excellent host, and I think her podcast is amazing. And if she had a talk show, I think she should still have a talk show because Grace is wonderful. But some of these things were like, okay, well, you do this joke. How do we turn this joke or this one bit or this one character? How do we make Miranda Sings into a sitcom universe with characters? And it's like, well, maybe you don't.
Right. Rhett and Link did have a show that also tanked. The Try Guys show tanked, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe fortunately later. I don't know.
But the other thing that kind of makes these things hard to transition is when YouTubers, especially back in the time when all of this YouTube stuff was going on, when they were really big, it was hard for TV to pay them what they were worth.
It was. And I think that a lot of people were on the divide because it was like, no, I watch YouTube. Yeah. I don't watch television, and like streaming aligning closer and closer to YouTube at the end of the day is getting somewhere, but it's just really cool to see somebody crack it.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see someone from the digital space figure it the fuck out, because there's been nothing but love for Legends of Vox Machina for 2 seasons.
And they're lucky in that. I mean, not just lucky, but they are positioned in such a way. I mean, you think about like how many shows they've all been on, directed, produced. You talk about like Sam, like when you're talking about doing animation, Sam Riegel produced like some of my favorite shows in animation. Sam Riegel was like a director on like half of DuckTales for 2017. You know, he was they're Ninja Turtles and video game lead characters and all this. So they understand the industry. And I think that helps them a lot more, you know, than I personally think it's unfortunate that a lot of these people didn't jump from YouTube to bigger success because they didn't have people around them that knew how to do it for them.
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of these people, I think there were a lot of executives at the time that were like, I see that this thing is working. And the executive knows how to do television, but didn't know how to pull in the audience from YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. We're very, very excited for the CR team. And that's very good news. Congrats to the critters.
Yeah.
Out there.
And also, I guess, congrats to Master Shake. I guess congrats to Frylock.
Yeah.
Because after 8 years, Adult Swim is bringing back Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I didn't like it.
I'll tell you this. Some of the later seasons of Aqua Teen Hunger Force got inappropriate in a way that made me uncomfortable.
That was the thing is I was an adult. I enjoyed Adult Swim. But a lot of it, there was like a good half of Adult Swim that I did not like.
Yeah.
And it would come on and you'd watch it because it was on. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force was one of those for me. But like, I'll be honest, I was not a Tim and Eric kid. I was not a Robot Chicken.
Love Tim and Eric. I was not a big Robot Chicken guy just because pop culture parody to me, like it's got to be like every once in a while Adult Swim would do or Robot Chicken would do something where I'd be like, that was fucking clever.
Yeah.
But I think it had that very like early 2000s, 2010s where it's like, I don't know, what if you sent this children's cartoon character to fight to the death? It's like, yeah, what if?
Edgy humor.
What if? Yeah.
The edgy humor. I agree. The beginning of Aqua Teen Hunger Force was very fun.
But man, yeah, the first couple seasons of Aqua Teens, I think they got to a point, and they talked about this a little bit, they got to a point where they were almost daring a Cartoon Network to take them off the air.
Yeah.
And you could see it in the content.
Yeah.
Because some of that content, I was like, whoa, guys, that's borderline. Like, you can't say that.
Like, I don't know if you should.
I don't know if that's not even in like good taste, and it's not even funny.
Right.
But they were like, can you fire us? What will it take?
Yeah.
And instead they gave us a movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Because we just kept getting more and more popular.
Galaxy Tide said Home Movies was my favorite. Home Movies is the show that I consistently forget exists. Then I hear the name and I have almost war flashbacks about it, but I enjoyed it very much.
I love it so much.
I enjoyed it. I watched so much.
Do you know what I think of? But all the time?
One of those I just forget about.
It's one of my favorite shows of all time. And a bit that I always think of is there's this bit in one of the later episodes where like Jason opens a closet and all these tapes fall out and he goes, Brendan, what is this? And Brendan's like, oh, that's all our movies. Wow. I can't believe we shot that many movies. He's like, we've been taping these. It's like, yeah, what should we do with them? He's like, we should burn them. No one should ever see them.
This show.
And I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, that's how I feel sometimes about like most of the things I've done.
It's too early. That's very funny. Someone also mentioned Metalocalypse. Yeah.
Metalocalypse, I love. I think, Dr. Katz, anything that started with the squiggle vision, like Brendan Small universe. But I like that. So Adult Swim is bringing back Aqua Teen Hunger Force for 5 episodes.
Okay, just 5 episodes.
Just 5 episodes. They're doing it. It's the 12th season. It's coming from the original creators, Dave Willis and Matt Mayaro. And I'm listen, whether it was good or not, it really did jumpstart a kind of humor.
It did.
That like still goes. And I mean, a lot of these people from early Adult Swim are like, one of the head writers on this show is now, and was Aqua Teen head writer and C-Lab head writer, was the creator of Archer. You know, and you can like draw these lines to like all of these wonderful shows from Adult Swim. Hey, just fucking bring back Space Ghost.
Yeah.
Just bring back Space Ghost.
Did you enjoy Archer?
I love Archer.
Do you still keep up with Archer?
I do. There were a couple seasons where like, once again, you can tell they got bored. And there were a couple seasons where it almost lost me.
Still going?
Yeah. Wow. So they did like dream versions of Archer. Like Archer was in a coma for 3 seasons and they chose different genres of show and all the characters were different characters. And they did it, I think, just because they were bored.
Sure. Switch it up.
But now they're back to like the classic stuff. And it's so funny. And they're doing a good job of like, this is kind of what we were talking about, building out this show that could have just been quippy one joke show and turning it into a show that's about like interpersonal relationships and character growth.
I watched like the first 3 seasons of Archer and I really enjoyed it. But you know what happened?
You just fell off.
I started Bob's Burgers.
Ooh.
And then I was like, that's not Archer anymore. I'm sorry. That's actually Bob.
That's actually Bob. Did you see, there was a Archer episode where he's deep cover as Bob Belcher.
I've seen clips from it, but not watched the whole episode.
It's just that one. It's probably just that one clip you saw.
Yeah.
Because they only do it like a little bit. There was like a crossover.
I don't think I saw the episode, but I know distinctly the scene.
Yeah. It's fun. And I'm one of those people where I watch, if Bob's Burgers is on, I watch it. Or if somebody's watching it, I watch it. But I haven't like sat down and watched all of Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers is a great background show for me. Big fan. Big fan of just putting Bob's Burgers on.
I have a lot of friends where it's like, this is the funniest and best show ever made.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
Bob's Burgers great. It's just light.
It's very light.
It's so light. And I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
It takes so little from me. And so much takes so much from me. Also, I keep coughing during the show. My lungs are currently full of sawdust and insulation and drywall.
Well, the
construction.
Now the insulation's a bad one.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
We're going to stick a pin in that and we'll maybe figure that out. You want to talk about shows that are not light, but are unfortunately not existent anymore.
Smooth.
They are not light and they no longer exist. Titans and Doom Patrol are ending on season 4 at HBO Max. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all.
I'm surprised by. I'm so not surprised by Titans. I'm a little surprised by Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol is a brilliant and wonderful show that has gotten a very fervent and loyal fan base. I think it's very cult status right now. Mm-hmm. And as we know, David Zaslav, the new head of Warner Media, because he was the head of Discovery Media, David Zaslav doesn't do cult. Something is either a wild hit or it's extremely, extremely cheap to produce. And there's nothing in between.
It's going to be a bad phase for HBO for a while.
It's going to be HBO is known. Their entire thing is big budget prestige TV. They did it before anybody.
Yep.
That was their claim to fame.
Yep.
Before that, they were just showing movies. Mm-hmm. And everybody on cable shows movies now. Why you have to produce original? And I don't know. It's very interesting that it seems like they want to cut
their thing.
Everything, almost everything.
Yeah.
So both shows are going to be able to, they both got the news that they would be canceled at the end of their 4th season. So they did have time to create whatever ending they had time to create.
Michael Lysander said, I trust HBO over anyone else to release something that doesn't suck. I used to. I don't anymore.
Yeah.
With all of the changes that they've been making because of Discovery, I no longer feel that way.
So this is kind of unfortunate. They will be able to have their climactic endings, they say. I don't know. I miss it. I love Doom Patrol so much. And I remember when this was part of DC Unlimited or whatever it was, and they came out with it, I was like, oh, they're going to fuck up Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing I said. I was like, there's no way they're going to do justice to Doom Patrol. Mm-hmm. And they did. Yeah. And they elevated it and they made it even better in a lot of ways. And this season, we even got into the Gerard Way continuity of Doom Patrol. Shit. Casey shows up in the new season of Doom Patrol, and we had gotten into...
I haven't watched any of it.
Oh, I want to. Good. It's so good.
Even looking at the imagery, I go like, yeah, that reminds me the most of like a darker, even Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
When you look at that image, that looks most comparable to the Umbrella Academy by far.
They kept it. They kept its tone. They kept the feeling of it. They kept the vibe of it, and they added depth to it. Like when they added Matt Bomer's like whole fucking backstory for Negative Man, it was like, whoa, this is a huge deal.
I want to watch it now. And it's ending.
Yeah. They made it in the movie. So Negative Man's whole thing, the reason he turned invisible, and that was his power, is because he was closeted in the military and he just never felt like he could be himself or be seen.
I will say, without the closeting portion, they did kind of steal that from an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but that's fine.
Sure. There's more depth to it, but
I'm kidding.
It's very, very good.
The musical queer show on TV, and it's perfect. I gotta watch it. I didn't know that.
There's a music.
Nobody's been reviewing this show as the queerest show on television. If y'all told me it was gay sooner, I'd have started.
There's a musical number at a drag club that is protected by a sentient town. Like the town itself is sentient and protects the drag club.
Casita.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, and the town is non-binary. Danny, the town wants you to refer to them as they. Because it's a town. The town doesn't have, the town's like, I'm non-binary.
Yeah,
I'm
the town's not. Don't give gender to town.
I'm a town. That's weird.
Weird enough that you put it on me. Don't put it on the town. I really wish people had been pitching this show differently to me. My God.
Dude, the stuff they did with Flex Mentalo, Flex Mentalo is like, there's so much good shit.
I feel the same way, Nightcrawler.
Well, that's the thing is like, it's so odd. It's such an odd show.
I know so many people that watch it though, especially like in what we do, and people talk about it in chat all the time and stuff. You got to lead with gay. Please, I'm begging you. When pitching me on a show, you got to lead with gay.
Man.
I'm worried for Harley Quinn.
Animated? Yeah. This might be our last year of it. Now, you might be wondering, hey, what's the Gunn and Safran of all this? A lot of people were like, yeah, what's going on, James Gunn? What's happening with these shows? And James Gunn basically said, the decisions for the TV stuff were made before Peter and I signed on. Okay. This is a television decision that was made.
They're like, hey, we're making some real weird decisions right now, but even we aren't making this.
Yeah.
Even this one's not on us.
So it's kind of, I more and more wonder what did they offer James Gunn and Peter Safran? What is the amount of money? What is the creative things that they allowed to be greenlit? What made them take this gig? Because they didn't need to. No. And strategically, from a career point of view, it's a weird step. Yeah. For James Gunn. Because
he didn't need it. Like, he could have been doing anything.
Yeah, he could have kept making movies and making big budget movies and TV and making good paychecks. He decided to like be an exec. And I'm wondering what's happening. Yeah. It is definitely so probably Kevin Feige level of creative control. Definitely has that. Definitely has that. But you have a Kevin Feige level of creative control under David Zaslav.
Right. That's not Kevin Feige control.
You only have that control until David Zaslav looks at what you've been doing and says, it's all bad. You're fired.
I'm very curious.
I'm wondering.
I'm also wondering. And like, you know, I get wanting to be Feige.
Sure.
Of course, who doesn't?
Sure.
But
I also think like as much as like I do get wanting to be Feige, I would never want to.
No.
Like,
that's fair.
Like that's like
that's too much.
When you say like, oh man, he's in control of the entire MCU and blah blah blah, it's like he doesn't make movies. I mean, he makes them in that he has the creative control, but there are like a billion of these things going on at once. It's an executive job.
Right. His job, be like, I'm going to go make a movie now.
His job is meetings and budgets and deals and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird jump to take for a creative type. And I guess that's why Peter Safran is there. Yeah. It's to do more of that businessy stuff.
We'll see. I agree. I think Erdy Cooper and Obi both said like, so how Feige was at the beginning under Perlmutter.
Yeah, kind of. I guess. We'll see who outlasts who. Zaslav's been around for a long time.
We'll see what happens next. You know, we talked about the Oscars on Wednesday, about the Oscar nominations. And unfortunately, always to follow is the worst award show that I just swear we have to have moved past this humor at this point. God. The Razzies.
The Razzies are so okay. At their best, the Razzies can be punching up, right? The Razzies, like when you think about Razzie moments that people remember, I mean, here's the thing. They're all years and years old, but it's things like Halle Berry coming and accepting her Razzie for Catwoman. Like, she was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. She showed up. She made fun of herself. Sandra Bullock showed up, made fun of herself, went home.
That's funny.
But the problem with it is,
why is all of the memorable moments women having the humility to go with being torn down?
Oh, because I think dudes tried to make it funny and they couldn't. Those are just the two I remember.
But you know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, But
it's because that's what I'm saying is women are the only people with the humility to pull it off, and they shouldn't have to.
But the other thing, the subtext of that, even for like a Halle Berry or a Sandra Bullock, is you're basically showing up to shit on your crew.
Yeah.
Like if you
you didn't make that movie.
You're doing like when you accept the worst actor or whatever, you accept it and you go, oh yeah, I did bad. This movie was bad. But what you're really saying is like, fuck my crew, fuck the director, fuck the studio, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like, it's just a bad look. The Razzies are a bad look, and they've had a couple really bad looks in the last couple of years. The big one this year was they nominated a 12-year-old for worst actress, Ryan Kira Armstrong from Firestarter.
What? Like, come on.
A child. They nominated a child for worst actor, and immediately everybody was like, nah, you don't do this.
No, actually, no.
You don't do this.
I want this to be the thing that makes the Razzies go away. And I know that it won't be, but it should be.
It's like, look, are there bad things out there? Yeah. Sure. You don't have to like them. You can make fun of them if you want. You don't have to create an entire institution based on tearing other people's stuff down. Like, that seems weird.
Please don't.
This, by the way, comes after last year, where they nominated Bruce Willis for worst performance the year that he came out in public about his aphasia and the fact that the language processing parts of his brain are failing. The Razzies.
Screw the Razzies.
Screw the Razzies.
It's very interesting because like humor has developed so much over the last like decade or two. And I know that for like Gen X, like self-deprecating, like mean humor had a big moment.
It was huge.
Big, long
sarcasm
moment.
was the only language everybody was fluent in the 90s and early 2000s.
And that has passed. It is over. The generations following don't find it funny. And it's not what most of our media is anymore. It's not what like, it's not even the humor, right? There was dark humor, there was edgy humor, and there was mean humor. So it's the same way that I feel about with like a lot of those Adult Swim shows that we're just like, oh, and we're just pushing the envelope to see how far we can go.
Right.
Like the time has come and passed. So why are you still doing this?
Why do it?
You look, old man yells at sky.
Yeah. I just like when you nominate a 12-year-old girl without even thinking about it. And maybe they did. Maybe they were like, oh, this'll make people mad. That's hilarious.
They love to make people mad.
Or maybe,
they're getting attention.
Great. I want it to go away.
Old man yells at cloud.
Yeah.
That's how they sound to me. I didn't like this child's performance in this movie.
Yeah.
Weird. You're thinking too much about it.
Yeah. It's not up to a 12-year-old to be self-deprecating about themselves. A 12-year-old that's in the public eye is already going through enough and needs to be supported, in all honesty, not torn down. But that, going back to the Adult Swim thing, I think that's why when I think about my favorite Adult Swim stuff, it is like Space Ghost.
Yeah. And Operation Hunger Force wasn't mean humor generally.
No, it got weird and mean.
Yeah.
But the more like bizarre and silly and surreal stuff, I don't know. Just, hey, the world is a place that's going through a lot right now, and we all live on the world. And so we're all going through a lot, and maybe just don't be mean.
Galaxy Tides exactly said that's why Bob's Burgers is so great. Bob's Burgers is the kindest humor.
It really is.
It's like, we talk a lot about the concept of like a family that loves each other. That family is realistic and they get on each other's nerves, and damn it, they love each other.
That is a weird family that accepts each other's weirdness. Yeah. So hey, Razzies don't do. Razzies don't do.
Yeah.
Let's take oh boy. All right, let's do it. We got to talk about Blizzard.
Okay.
We got to do it. We got to talk about Blizzard. A manager at Blizzard, somebody who is high ranking in World of Warcraft, has been let go for speaking up against Blizzard's workplace ranking for employees. Basically, the way this works is Blizzard employees have to be rated on what they call their quarterly reviews have to be rated on what they're calling like an employee bell curve, which means you must give 5% of your employees a bad review. Whether they did poorly or not, you must look at who did the least good and you give those people bad reviews. It's a sliding scale. It doesn't matter if your team is energized and positive and doing wonderfully and everybody's doing their best. Somebody there is their worst. It's just a whip crack. It's just literally a whip crack. Who's in back of the line? Make an example of them. And so this manager came out. It was let me make sure I've got the name here. Something Birmingham, Brian Birmingham. He was co-lead developer on World of Warcraft Classic. He got so mad that he emailed staff last week to express his frustration with the system. The email said, when team leads asked why we had to do this, World of Warcraft directors explained that while they did not agree, the reasons given by executive leadership were that it was important to squeeze the bottommost performers as a way to make sure that everybody continues to grow. This sort of policy encourages competition between employees, sabotage of one another's work, a desire for people to find low-performing teams that they can be the best performing worker on, and ultimately erodes trust and destroys creativity. He went on to say that he couldn't work under a system like that, which is why he and other managers had managed to circumvent or skip it for the last few years, but now it is being enforced. He told staff that he would be leaving the company if the policy was not reversed. But shortly later, he was called into HR and terminated.
Hey, everybody. In case you were wondering, can we play Overwatch again? Can we go back? Did the acquisition fix things? Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. Don't play Blizzard games.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Can I go back to Call of Duty? No Activision. No, absolutely not.
Nope. Diablo 4 it doesn't matter.
Nope.
It looks like it was made under duress.
A lot of people
that's what it looks like.
A lot of people think that oh, well, time will pass. And I see people just streaming Overwatch so casually again. And I'm so embarrassed for those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. But
when we were at Kind of Funny, I told the guys, I was like, I think it's weird that you're streaming Overwatch.
Yeah.
I was like, I think it's weird.
And I think that a lot of people aren't paying attention. Because they're just time passes and other video game companies are garbage.
Yeah. And I I understand where people are coming from. They've been playing the game for years. It's their game that they've been playing.
But again, I'm the perfect example of that.
And then
Overwatch was the one game in my entire gaming life that I ever played competitively.
Yeah. It's also tricky it's tricky for streamers that have been Overwatch streamers that are and I'm not giving anybody a free pass or anything like that, but it is tough when it's people expect me to stream Overwatch and then you stop streaming Overwatch and you lose all of your money and audience and you're like, fuck. I get that,
Right. But there's also a lot of people that are variety streamers that are just no, I'm just working Overwatch back in. And you're like, stop it.
Don't do that.
That's so easy not to.
Yeah.
There's definitely people who are yeah, I'm just going to check out Overwatch too. And it matters. And it does cause harm. That's it. They'll put comfort over standing up for something a lot of the time. And I'm just not.
And I do know,
justification.
and listen, I know a few streamers that are Overwatch streamers that have been slowly working other things in that are my plan is to not be an Overwatch streamer, but I've got to ratchet this down because.
And by now you've had time.
Yeah.
By now you've had time, and a lot of people have successfully done that. But for anybody who does variety content and is still rotating in Overwatch, I'm
this is the statement from Brian Birmingham. I wasn't intending to make this public, but apparently it's in the news already, so I'd at least like to set the record straight. I am no longer an employee of Blizzard Entertainment, though I would return if allowed to so that I could fight the stack ranking policy from the inside.
Get him.
Get him, Brian. Get him, Brian. I'm told the forced stack ranking policy is a directive that came from the ABK level above Mike Ybarra. I don't know for sure, but I suspect it's true. Everybody at Blizzard I've spoken to about this, including my direct supervisors, expressed disappointment about this policy. For those who don't know, ABK is the parent company formed when Activision Publishing expressed their interest in buying World of Warcraft from Vivendi. So basically, ABK is like up above everybody in this chain.
Activision Blizzard, yeah.
Yeah. So, so it was Activision. It's basically Activision Blizzard codec.
Yeah.
So we know where it's coming from.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Hey, I've got one last piece of weird, silly news.
Do you?
BuzzFeed has said that they are interested in embracing AI-generated content and articles. And I think that's so funny.
So BuzzFeed recently laid off a bunch of writers, and they announced that they're going to use ChatGPT to write posts, and their stock went up 146%.
I think it came back down pretty quickly.
Good.
But what's very funny about it to me is that, like, actually BuzzFeed probably wouldn't change. And I'm sorry to BuzzFeed writers. I'm sure there's a bunch of talented people that work there, but are forced to follow a BuzzFeed directive about the kind of content they can make. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's plenty of very, very talented people, and especially to the people who were just laid off. I'm so sorry. I hope that you land somewhere wonderfully where you get to write things that you enjoy. But damn, a lot of BuzzFeed articles do feel like they were AI generated.
Yeah, I mean, and they do say that this is going to be used to mostly do quizzes and like list articles and stuff like that.
Of course.
But people who say this have never used ChatGPT. That's
Certainly
what I'm going to. That's what.
Why would I?
That's what I'm going to. No. I mean, people who say that they're going to replace people with this have never used ChatGPT. It's good at certain things. If it can't figure out what you're trying to ask it, it writes nonsense, just like any other AI.
Right.
I remember Bob Wolf just did. If you don't watch Wolf Den's a great channel. Bob Wolf just did a thing where he was like, I'm going to have ChatGPT write my script for this video about how to repair your Switch.
Hilarious.
And it went 2 sentences before it went totally off the rails and had no idea what it was talking about.
And like, look, again, I want to say like, hey, there's a lot of bad things that people are doing with AI right now. And foundationally, AI is not all bad. Mm-mm. There are good uses of AI, and there's uses of AI that you don't think of as uses of AI that's being used every day. But I think about like trying to write an article on AI Dungeon. You know?
Yeah.
You try to tell a story on AI Dungeon, you might get into the dungeon and then all of a sudden there's like a fire that is ascending into hell that has allowed a bunch of school buses to come out of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, sure, man, why not?
This is going to need so much oversight. You can't, it's not at a place where you can replace these people.
I don't believe that they actually mean it. I believe that they are like, hey, will this get people to pay attention to us? And it worked.
Yep.
They're like, we're doing something different. And maybe you'll come by to see if the AI articles are weird.
And I mean, look, the layoffs are real. Like the layoffs happened. Like those writers are gone. The idea that they're replacing those writers with ChatGPT, it's like you're saying, it can't happen. They might try it. They might see how it works. But inevitably what it means is instead of 20 people writing all of the content for BuzzFeed, it's going to come down to like the 2 people who are left. Yeah, and they're going to be forced to crank that content out.
I'm pretty doubtful that that's actually related, that they actually were like, let's lay off people and use AI instead. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of companies are doing layoffs right now.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, as you said earlier, that are performing still very well are doing layoffs right now. So I think that that is a thing to kind of cover the news.
Sure.
Of the layoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's all happening within the same department, and you're right. It's probably just like, it's like a timing and PR thing more than anything else. Yeah. But I don't know. What a bummer.
Yeah.
What a bummer.
Hey, we've come up towards the end of the show, though.
Jonah Peretti, be a human challenge.
We've come up towards the end of the show, which means it's time to show you all the food we're going to cook.
Oh, did we not tell you about the delicious mail?
You want to cook some mail?
I thought perhaps we had told you about the delicious mail. If you've never cooked your mail, number one, good. Most mail should not be cooked.
But now is the time to start with HelloFresh. Once again, thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's episode of It's Too Early. Look at this.
we received the large box of delicious mail.
Want to make sure we don't do anything we're not supposed to do.
Meow, 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 meow. Look at this beautiful, attractive box.
Now let's spin it.
Here it is, the tastiest of mail. Let me tell you something. If you don't want to go to HelloFresh and use our code right now to get 21 free meals, you just wait until we show you this delicious mail.
Okay, so for this one, we did 4 meals. You can choose for 2-person meals or 4-person meals if you want to do like a family situation. I did family options when I chose it, but not family sized, just so that it would feed me like a child. And I think pulled that off pretty well.
Yep.
You can also add more to your box. So if you're like, I want 6 this week, I want 8 this week, you can do as many as you want.
You can also add on little treats for yourself.
There's baked goods. There's like additions when you go through and you edit where you're like, hey, add garlic bread to this or add like a brownies situation.
Shazio7 asks, can you store this mail in a regular fridge just like all my other mail? Yes. So you get...
okay, so these are a few of our recipes.
These are recipe cards, which is fun. They show you what we got on the front. This is the plant-based protein ragu. Ooh, it's a rigatoni bake. I love a rigatoni.
Yeah.
I really do. And then on the back, you get these, look at that, 6 steps.
Boy, if you love rigatoni, do I have the second meal for you.
Oh, ho.
This one's the pork sausage rigatoni rosa. I switched out the pork sausage for a chicken sausage because I'm not a pork guy. And that was very easy to do, and I enjoyed it very much. Look at, as Anthony said, the pictures.
Ariel Third says, I love to keep a recipe card if it was a good and easy meal. Me too. I have stacks of recipe cards from HelloFresh because I'm just like, ooh, this was my fave thing.
Oh, Bee and Pull Games made it last night. Wait, which one did you make? Did you make the rigatoni or what's that one? The plant-based one?
Chillis 317, the sausage one.
Ooh, that one. That's the rigatoni.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then this is the one that Saige said was for Anthony's. It's bulgogi.
It is. So there's also one more in there that I think the card just fell in. Okay. So the thing that I enjoyed very much is they separated out the things that needed to be refrigerated. Thank you. That's great. The like meats and perishables and vegetables. But then everything's in an individual bag. So you take out the bag and you go, this is everything I need for tonight's dinner.
I love that.
Which is very, very good.
I love that. Because here's the other thing that I will tell you as ADHD man. I don't want to take the individual things out of the box and put them in proper places. I want to take the 4 bags and put them in the refrigerator.
Look, it's just the right amounts. The correct amount of pasta. I always make too many noodles. I just pour a whole box in. I don't know what to do. I don't know when to stop. I always make too many noodles otherwise.
I genetically have a 6th sense for how many noodles, but that's one of the only things I can do.
Yeah?
One of the only things I can do is measure out the proper amount of pasta.
This has exactly a teaspoon of chili flakes, which is the amount for the recipe.
Because here's the other, listen, here's the other thing. I buy a lot of spices. I go into hyper-focusing on cooking sometimes, like once a year, and I'll buy a lot of spices.
Yeah.
And then those spices go bad because I don't cook that much.
A whole zucchini.
That's one whole zucchini.
I'm very excited. There's garlic in here.
You know what else? You know what else is great about this? All of it will go through airport security. If you want to take a rigatoni on the plane with you,
you could.
You could. It wouldn't be prepared, but you could take all of these individually wrapped ingredients, get on a plane, take a little work trip, go into the airline restroom, make yourself some rigatoni. Make yourself some airplane bathroom rigatoni. It's like chicken. It's like engine block chicken.
Anyways, pretty cool. Also in here, you get a give a friend a free box codes. You get a few of them so that you can pass on the love to a friend, or they can just use our code as well. You can check out the link popping up in the chat. If you're watching later on YouTube, you can check the link in the description and use our code. The code will be there as well to get 21 free meals. I'm very excited to do some cooking. Thank you very much to HelloFresh for not only sponsoring today's episode, but feeding us.
Yeah, and thanks to you for going and using that code and helping to support the show, because that's That's how we live.
That's how we live.
That's how we live.
And, hey, it's nice to take on sometimes like a sponsor on a show like this that A, supports what we do because what we do is a little bit weird. And B, look, this is the thing that feeds us. So a sponsor that also feeds us, very good.
Ghost just literally punched the door open like, you talking about food?
Ghost would like some plant-based protein rigatoni. Hey, I got dinner for 2. That's me and Ghost tonight.
Hey, are you going to put his little bow tie on him?
Of course.
A little fancy dinner?
Sit him at the table.
Sit him at the table like that meme.
Uh-huh.
You sit him at the table and you yell at him like this, and then he goes...
All right, everybody. That is our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we do the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific.
If it's 8 a.m. and we're not there, are you sure?
Check again.
Are you check again?
Be there.
Try turning the morning off and back on again and see if that works.
I did that this morning. Hey, also, there's a bunch of other ways that you can support this show and keep it going in addition to doing things like clicking through to our sponsors. You can join the Discord, which is completely free to do. You can just, that helps us because we get to build our little community, and it helps you because the people in there are really cool. You can tweet about the show, which is also free. A bunch of people do that in the mornings and let people know that they're watching and enjoying the show, and we're so grateful. Thank you very much to Bree Grace for tweeting about the show this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. We already have that open over there. Thank you everybody who supports us on Patreon, especially our stagehands. Thank you to Alonzo, to Ronan, to Moonkid for making this show and other shows possible. It's very cool of you.
Yeah.
The Patreon starts at $3 a month. For $5 a month, you get a bonus clip from It's Too Early every week. Today's bonus clip is going to be a little delayed because we have a very busy day ahead of us, but we will get you a clip this weekend or something.
We have so much rigatoni to make.
We got to make a lot of rigatoni.
Like, we ordered so much rigatoni.
It's all rigatoni. It's rigatoni all the way down.
Yeah, because we got to get on a long flight.